Just about to get started here. We are catching some breaking news. We are just getting started with the Summit der Langrisser Grand Finals. This is the Season 13 Grand Finals, and it's going to be against two very excellent, capable players, Jayden Nelson and the former champion WindSeeker. So I'm just very quickly getting the channel set up while they're doing stuff like rolling the map and getting into the battle. So let's go ahead and open this up so we can all see, whilst I post links so everyone else can flock to the channel and join you. We want as many people in here chatting with you as possible. And then, as soon as I'm done spamming our promotion, we will take a look at these boxes. Creamy, welcome to the chat. Dreadful Cobra, welcome to the chat. Yeah, no time for that, Straw. I'm not going to set up like Discord sound and stuff like that with 2 minutes warning. But they can hop in for next time, I'm sure. So, let's see. All set now. And we've got Jayden Nelson starting as player 1, WindSeeker coming in as player 2, and the first game is going to be on Floating Courtyard. Both players starting off with Rose and Seal picks, not super surprising. WindSeeker does still have the AO available, so actually this is a really good map for Oboro. Not very surprising to see Jayden Nelson come out with a first ban of Oboro on this map. So in terms of their actual boxes, things looking fairly standard here. One thing that's interesting to me is seeing Jayden Nelson still with IBC in the box, still with Watham in the box. Those are two of the characters who have not exactly fallen out of favor, but they've become less popular. That doesn't mean they're bad, it just means they're not in every single box like they used to be. But definitely still useful for certain things, and Watham, of course, always a threat on this map. Can you? Yeah, sorry. I was actually expecting this map to be, or this match to be later on in the evening. I think it was originally posted in the streamer channel as later on. I'm not 100% sure of that, just because the way the time zone and daylight savings thing worked, but didn't have as much time to like hop on with you guys and set up the stream. I guess if it was going to be later in the evening, you wouldn't have been available to jump on the stream anyway, so that's probably why where the late notice came from. But yeah, we'll just we'll set aside some time that's like not during tournament time to actually get things set up for like multiple casters. And on WindSeeker's side, since we didn't really have a chance to look at the eccentricities of his box yet, another fairly standard box. We've got Agnes in here. He is opting to run Freya as his third tank instead of probably Hilda. Freya basically acts as an additional buffer for Oboro, for example. It helps him secure a buff for Oboro, but his Oboro's banned here, so the Freya's not really going to matter, hence going with the Landius as his primary tank. Creamy calling out the starting with Turtle right away. Well, how turtley this game ends up being remains to be seen. Oh, I see. The time never changed. It was just never posted. That's what the problem was. I was going back looking for the last Jayden Nelson game I saw was from the previous round, and that was the one that was later in the evening. That makes sense. Okay, no biggie. Anyway, interestingly here, what we are going to have is Jayden with a couple of long-range mages. The Owl Boy is interesting because Rosenseal takes away kind of his most dangerous debuffs, but as we've seen multiple times in these playoffs already, and multiple times in Summit der Langrisser, he can still be just dangerous as a long-range single-target plunking mage. So he has his Holy Word, he has his unique single-target skill, both capable of putting out a lot of damage, and if you've only got one tank, even if he is buoyed by an Agnes Revive, for example, it could be possible to chip through that tank. And from the looks of WindSeeker's strategy, he's going to be playing with similar aims. He's going to either need to get through the Lightbringer, or he's going to gamble on the scramble and hope that Leon can get a really good 3C out and displace Jayden's team in such a way that he's then able to clean up kills with either Leon or the Gintoki. Yep, Canyu noting in the chat that WindSeeker played pretty aggro in the semis, and going back to standard tank push for game 1, I think that makes sense for a game 1, especially against a new opponent, and especially if he's done some recon or research on Jayden Nelson's game style. So at least having the option to play a little bit more tank push for game 1, you don't know if you're going to be player 1 or player 2 yet. Having that option there just gives you a little bit more versatility, and then as these games start to shake down, one thing for everyone to bear in mind who may be watching right now is that unlike the previous rounds of this tournament, the finals is best of 5. So there are more games, and that also gives the players a little bit more time to settle into their boxes, to settle into their opponent's strategies, and really go to those side boxes for quick pivots on strategy if they want to. Okay, so we've got Faceless, and at no 3C at all, just going with the 2 Guard Ignore skills. We've also got, yep, the 2 single target skills on the Owl Boy. All single target on this Annie. Doesn't bring the 3C, though. You'll sometimes see people bringing 3C on Rosenseal for anti-Leon tech, but doesn't necessarily think that is a big deal for this particular match. So the Guardian Infantry on the Landius, definitely helping him against these 2 magical threats. Empire faction buff on the Rosen, and yeah, sure enough, we do have the 3C, so hoping for the scramble on this Leon. And push on Gin. So nothing too shocking on either side, really. And Creamy called it. It looks like Jayden focusing on getting the portals right out in the middle of the map ASAP. No, this is a perfect time for Mistra, much better than late tonight. Especially if the games go long. It'd be nice to have lots of time. I actually just settled down with some fresh gingerbread cookies and a nice hot cup of tea. Mrs. Kong was at a local Christmas market, and picked us up some good stuff, so perfect. All I need is a little fire roaring in the background, and this is like a little holiday treat. So the portals to mid do give Jayden a little bit of an advantage in being able to set up in mid, although with just one tank on either side, I don't necessarily expect that this is going to end up being one of those turn 12 fog games. And the portals to mid are kind of mitigated by the ability of Leon to potentially scramble Jayden's team out of position. So really, in order to kind of get a feel for how the rest of the game is going to shake down, we need to see what that scramble ends up looking like. It could kind of go either way from there. Depending on whether this is a judge, a lot of the Lostoms this season have been going Slayers, but a lot of them are also Judge, so Jayden may have put his on Judge to help him assassinate someone like Agnes, for example. Definitely going to be a prime target for Jayden, just to make sure that the rest of WindSeeker's team doesn't keep reviving while he's trying to kill them. Yep, can you? That's a good point as well. Gintoki probably not going to be dealing with one of his allies dying right away, so that won't get him fully charged up instantly. And Jayden didn't bring a bunch of AoE to, you know, blindly blast at WindSeeker's team to get that Gintoki charged up. So realistically, the way he's going to be getting himself built up with stacks is basically just going to be from Landius taking a bunch of hits. So the question is the Landius still going to be standing by the time Gintoki is fully angry and ready to go? So the clash is not exactly imminent yet. Jayden's not going to want to leave his units dangling out of guard range. I mean, the Lostum could have technically gone in for a pick there, but no juicy targets. Like, I don't think he's going to be killing the Gintoki. Especially with Landius Aura there. I mean, the Gintoki isn't built up, but Gin is also not Lostum's first target either. Rice Crew, welcome to the stream. Okay, so here comes the first of what's going to be several pokes at Landius. Just working on chipping him down. Unlike Hilda, Landius's aura is not something that you can just chip off. So he's always going to be protecting his team as long as he's there. Yeah, Rice Crew, you have not really missed much. We're just at the start of Game 1. Game 1 of potentially 5, depending on how these matches go. But the fewest number of games we're going to see for sure is 3. Yeah, what will be very interesting is to see after this game what WindSeeker decides to do in terms of sideboxing. If this, I'm not counting him out quite yet exactly, but you're right, he is going to be taking a beating before he even gets into mid. Okay, and that's the first life off Landius already. So Jayden Nelson doesn't really have too much work to do before exposing the rest of WindSeeker's team. So if WindSeeker gets frustrated with the results of his tank push play, we may see him switch back to a more aggro box for Game 2, especially if he ends up being player 1, which if he loses this game, he will be. Yeah, Hero, welcome to the chat. True Hero, my newest guildmate. Okay, so WindSeeker is not going to delay. He's going to go for the scramble right now. He knows that the clocking is ticking on his Landius. So he goes in. He does get the first kill on that Lightbringer, so the scoreboard is technically tied right now in terms of tank lives lost. And let's see what the result of this scramble ends up being. He's just going to pull the 2 mages, but is he going to get a good result? Okay, Sagany not pulled out of guard range, and Annie is the only one who really has to adapt. So Jayden with turn priority can basically just rescue this Annie right away. She can go on the portal to do something, beam back here into guard range, and then WindSeeker is left with no real follow-up. Other than, I guess, trying to take Lightbringer's second life with Gin if he wants to expose his Gintoki at this point. Yeah, so WindSeeker is going to save the Annie, blows one of Agnes's revives. So she only has 1 left, I believe. She gets 2. And this Leon is, he was already out of commission, basically, but it was kind of a free and easy target for Annie to take him down. So, like I said, the only thing WindSeeker really has left in his back pocket is Gintoki coming in. And he's not going to do it quite yet. So that is going to at least give Jayden an opportunity to get his Lightbringer healed back up. I don't think WindSeeker was desperate enough that he wants to leave his Gintoki out of guard range while Jayden still has a whole slate of DPS left to trade for him. Maybe later in the turn he'll feel it's worth it, if he really feels like he's on the ropes. If he doesn't feel like he's on the ropes, like if taking that Lightbringer life makes him feel like he's still in this, he may still want to play patient and move into mid a little bit more so that he can start attacking while under guard range. Yeah, Creamy, the Leon is pretty much out of the game. It's just a question of whether WindSeeker can leverage this Gintoki, his remaining carry, to finish off Lightbringer's second life in a timely manner. WindSeeker may even just leverage this Leon at the end of the turn, get Gintoki in, and then just suicide the Leon to get another action out of the Gin. Or can you thinking an Agnes sack as well? I think the Leon would probably be better to sacrifice if he is able to get in and do it. Like, I think Leon just attacking into this ends up dead. But does that block the Gintoki? Okay, Gin's gonna start with just a push. Whoa, did that just obliterate Sagni? Okay, nice push, very strong. Doesn't hurt Rosen too much, but getting Sagni off the board with an AoE is a pretty nice result for WindSeeker. Yeah, that was a beast move. So he can get in. If WindSeeker does sack this Leon, for example, suiciding into Lightbringer, then the Gintoki is going to be able to get in for his next attack and really hope to take out this Lightbringer's second life. Miracle's not up yet, though, so if Jayden thinks that's coming, he may at least throw some damage reduction up on his Lightbringer. I just have a hard time seeing Jayden, like, wasting a Lostum skill, but I mean, he's gonna do it. The Leon... Okay, it's fine. I mean, he wasn't going to kill Gintoki with it, so... I don't know, I just don't see the dead Leon there being a huge priority. So that's the AA that WindSeeker was shooting for. Now let's just see if he gets something from it. Annie's skills are not up. Lostum just has his 1.3 damage guard ignore. So it's certainly possible, or WindSeeker's going to be hoping anyway, to get his Gintoki in here, kill off that Lightbringer, survive whatever, you know, normal attack Annie or single target Lostum throws at him, and then get him back into guard range by bringing his Landius up. It's funny, Gintoki is one of those characters that you can, you know, you often see great... Okay, he's not going to go for the kill this turn. He wants to be a little more patient and make sure he does keep him under guard. WindSeeker playing patient. I appreciate that. Not feeling the desperation that the hype squad on the stream wants to see. Okay, so the other thing is Landius is not really feeling under threat this turn. These two aren't going to paste Landius down. In fact, they may not paste Landius down for the rest of this game. Annie was really relying on Sagni for help there. So the question becomes, is there anything that this Lostum can kill through Landius' aura? Is Agnes a target, for example? She's about as bulky as this Rosen. In terms of stats, anyway. Yeah, can you? I was going to say, I would have gone in there too, but my reasoning is not that I'm not a tank pusher, it's that I'm not a good player. Okay. So WindSeeker with this is settling for trying to take control of mid a little bit. With Landius here, though, he didn't really give himself a in-guard attacking position for this Gintoki. Alright, that answers that question. The Lostum is not going to be able to one-shot the Agnes. That said, WindSeeker has no healing left up his sleeve, and Jayden Nelson is going to have turn prio, and with the grapple, he's going to have riposte back. So Lossom's going to be able to get another shot at the Agnes at the start of next turn. And obviously not at 100%, her Shrine Maidens aren't going to be helping her out too much there. The other thing is, now Annie has her single target spells back, notably Fireball. So if Gintoki wants to take a shot now, he has to do it out of guard range, and it gives Jayden Nelson the opportunity to magic him down. He's going to go for it. He does take the life too, see, so that's interesting. He could have had that Lightbringer down last round. Jayden Nelson basically going to get his pick of either Guard Ignore, Riposte on the Agnes, or attempting Fireball or single target kill on this Gintoki. He is charged up. Yep, personally for me, I think I go Gin first. Interestingly, does not get the kill though. That lets Gintoki kind of do what he wants. He can Ice Cream here and go for the Lostom, which will prevent the Lostom from killing Agnes. He goes for Annie instead just because she's the bigger overall threat to his team, I guess, and Jayden doesn't like it. So that was a very interesting game. A little bit back and forth, but WindSeeker hung in there and executed his strategy. All right, let's queue back in for Game 2. And we'll see if we have any sidebox changes. Avarita, that was basically just game 1 out of a best of 5. So you came in, you didn't miss anything technically, a little bit of gameplay, but you got the results at least. So you came in just in time to see the first win. So Jayden, as the non-winner of game 1, gets to choose whether he wants to be player 1 or player 2, ends up as player 1 on the Broken Cliffs. So we are going to see these players potentially making some changes to their team via the sidebox. The difference between Game 1 and Game 2 is the players know whether they're going to be Player 1 or Player 2. So you may sometimes see Player 1 switch in some more aggressive, some more rush-type heroes, and you may sometimes see Player 2 switching in a little bit more of a defensive or like tank pushy comp, although WindSeeker's already using more of a tank pushy comp than he usually does. So yeah, I suspected he would stay with this, and then we may see him opt to go to the sidebox when he does switch to player 1. So Jayden going to bring up Kirkia and Leon, dropping the IBC and dropping the Sagni. Probably thinking the Sagni, I wonder what his thought process on that one is. Maybe he just thinks if it's likely that WindSeeker is going to be playing Rosen, he's not getting his full value for it, and he also saw that Sagni gets utterly obliterated by Gin AoE, so possibly not getting full value there. Or he just wants to show off a super sweet and buff Kirika, who can potentially do the same thing we just saw and blow up someone on WindSeeker's team with AoE. Let's see. Okay, it's not the first reason, because he's banning the Rosen Seal first. Yeah, Kurika's scary. I've had units that I was not suspecting would explode. I've had them explode. And I was like, well, that's why people got her and built her up early. Okay, so WindSeeker, given the opportunity, is going to go ahead and pick that Oboro. Oboro was taken off the table for him last game, but this time we're going to get to see him. He'll be a good weapon against tank push. WindSeeker not likely to get one of his buffers though, because he's going to want to take Lightbringer here if he wants to have a tank, and then he needs to get D-Heart to buff Oboro, if he cares about buffing Oboro. If he doesn't care about the tank, I suppose he could just take D-Heart now and get a faster Oboro, but then not having a tank against Annie is really rough. So if I had to guess, I'd say he would prioritize wanting a tank. He's deliberating, though. Just like the chess computers thinking about the ramifications of each move ahead. Oh, he does go for the D-Heart, so he's securing a slightly faster Oboro. I would not be surprised to see Jayden ban out Lightbringer now, though. He has lots of nice DPS left who would really enjoy not having to face off against a tank. Yeah. The only time you really don't want to prioritize like early bans on tanks is if it's against a player who's planning on playing a bunch of fast DPS anyway, so you know you're wasting your bans by getting rid of units that they're not going to pick, and you leave them with a bunch of juicy DPS. We'll see how WindSeeker adapts to that, though. Like Canyu said earlier in the chat, WindSeeker has been playing aggressive boxes throughout this tournament. So losing Rosen and then 3 tanks as his first 4 picks does leave him with a bunch of DPS, and that's kind of the game style that he's been accustomed to playing. So let's see if he basically just out-trades Jayden here. Jayden being given access to a tank, which I imagine he's going to pick. We have first pick Rosen Seal. You pretty much want a tank to go with it, otherwise Rosen is just sitting back there being not a DPS. So he does get the Lightbringer, and then he's also going to get 1 DPS. Yeah, WindSeeker banning out the Lawsome and the Z2. The 2 scarier remaining DPS, I believe. So if Jayden wants to try to trade down as much as he can, the Watham. If he wants to try to weather the storm, maybe the Hilda. Hilda could also protect against getting assassinated by D-Heart, but she doesn't really do anything against endgame Oboro. So yeah, Jayden goes for the DPS. I think that's the smarter choice. And these are actually both good choices for WindSeeker. Goes for the McLean, who can at least ignore guard. So an interesting composition here for WindSeeker. He's going to have Oboro with faction buff, D-Heart and a McLean, who can both ignore guard. The McLean is going to be able to throw tiles down, which pretty much only affects well, Gintoki, kind of Annie to slightly less degree. She has portals that she can whip around with. I guess Gintoki can make use of those as well. The AO, not going to be able to chain people through the Rosen stacks, but she will be able to just put out good damage. Jayden with 3 DPS. And WindSeeker with no tank, though. So, I mean, one of the ways to victory for Jayden is going to be getting into the action in a way that doesn't expose any of his units to getting killed by WindSeeker early, and then basically, like, chipping down those units. Having Agnes here is actually a pretty smart pick for WindSeeker because it makes Jayden take longer to chip his units down. Like, if he gets a kill on the D-Heart, D-Heart's coming back. McLean has an extra life anyway, so with a couple of revives, trying to take down like 3 McLeans can be annoying. Get Leo Becht! Welcome to the stream. Awesome username, by the way. Sadly, we've seen no Leo Bechts yet. On this stream, anyway. I think I saw a Leo Becht while I was laddering earlier. And my Leo Becht is sadly not built. I'd like to have him built. Oh, Antihero. Alright, welcome to the stream. Okay, so we've got single target with archers on the Annie. Fighting monks on the Lightbringer. Double big single target on this Gin. We've got anti-hero and true hero both in the chat. Okay, we've got a single target AO, that makes sense. Bat's not going to be doing too much against Rosen, other than stripping an extra stack, I guess. Yeah, and we have the faction buff on the D-Heart. Sometimes I've seen, if people get a McLean, I've seen people try to bring Glacial Elementals on their AOs. So the faction buff goes up, and then this Oboro is going to have to tuck himself away somewhere that he can survive until he's needed later in the game. Jayden Nelson is going to be trying to move in. Breeze on Lightbringer, slightly helpful. It's for opponent McLeans. Yes, that makes much more sense. Since your own McLean doesn't want to hinder your team. Although, it's not like we can really count on Zilong code to do things that make sense when it comes to terrain. Okay, let's settle in and see the approach. This is an interesting object lesson in Oboro use outside of turtle teams. I feel like he's a fairly common staple when you see, you know, 1 or 2 tanks, 1 or 2 healers, and an Oboro, because they huddle up around him and try to keep him safe as long as possible, and then expect him to carry once he's transformed. But this is one of those games where it's basically trying to keep Oboro alive with a bunch of DPS units. So no rush for WindSeeker to get into mid. Jayden Nelson has to come to him. When he does come to him, though, he'll be ready to take some lives. Okay, that's a nice juicy takeoff point for anyone who wants to go through that portal. Ooh. Attack down on the McLean. That'll tick down pretty quick. WindSeeker basically getting some water out here now to slow down Jayden's approach. Potentially buy himself a turn for his Oboro. Fogging up the mid slightly slows down that Lightbringer, although there's no rule against Lightbringer just hopping up here and creating like a little bastion, a staging area for his whole team up close. So Lightbringer could hop in there, set up a base, and then the rest of Jayden Nelson's units can basically just jump through and be adjacent to their tank. Hooray! Plus, they're close enough to... If there's someone who gets an act again, like Annie after jumping on a portal, Watham if he wants to like Alhazard from the portal, or Gintoki who can't quite reach that portal yet, but if he ice creams on the portal, Gintoki's mobility is going to be affected by these tiles up front. But Jayden is going to be able to set up a little staging area here where he can pretty much immediately hit people on WindSeeker's team. And he's seeking the wind. He may be finding the wind. And he wants to shoot a big bird out of the sky. Jayden making judicious use of his backup time so far. Once things start rolling, he's not going to need to dip into that as much. I hear Dobermans. Okay, and this Apex window is closing in about 15 minutes, so we may get some more viewers on the stream as well, people who are busy playing their own Apex matches. As they wind down, and then come on over and visit Old Kong. Okay, so the start of a brand new turn, Jayden Nelson with a whole bunch of options available to him. He definitely doesn't want to throw the Lightbringer in there first. Oh, I guess he could, because McLean doesn't have his assassin skill up yet. He used all his AoE earlier. So D-Heart could smoke the Annie. McLean can't. Alright, after all that AoE-age, this Gintoki is now ready to act again from the portal if he so desires. Yeah, I think that's a fine strategy too, can you? Because really, that's what Annie's here for. She's here to take that Oboro. Once that Oboro's out of the picture, then Jayden has a lot less to worry about. So if Annie does her job here, which she really should, now the Fire's snipes are going to take out that Agnes life. And mission accomplished. So she does not get to go too far. She's definitely in range to be killed by anything on WindSeeker's team. But the problem for WindSeeker is he now has to rely on these guard ignores, kind of, I'm going to call them short-term guard ignores, or like immediate use guard ignores, to take out all of Jayden's dangerous DPS. While Jayden can just use, not the Annie, obviously, but the Gintoki and the Watham to try to chip them down. So the question, like for the last game, the question was, can the Landius survive long enough to get WindSeeker's DPS ferried into the middle of the map? The question for this game is going to be, can the Agnes revives and the McLean revive hold WindSeeker's team together long enough to be able to pick apart Jayden's team, or is Jayden going to be able to pick apart these unguarded WindSeeker units? It's always nice, though, as a player, when you see an Oboro posted up somewhere, and you're able to just go in and drop a portal and know that your Annie's in range, and it's just like, she's coming for you. Alright, this is really just to get McLean's Guard Ignore skill up. He decides to stay there and eat another portal debuff. Basically, just topped off his attack down. So he's still got 2 turns on that. Where's Sam Tinder? Sam Tinder was asking if I'm going to have a ladder stream later. The only ladder stream I'll be having is if good old Uncle Tristan comes back from his trip and wants to stream his matches in Gold 1 again. Not going to be streaming mine. I might throw together some fun replays, though, because I've been playing with my ridiculous Mythical Realm box. I've got Gizaroth fully cast in there, I've got Sage of the Trees cast, I've got Tatalia in there. Who else do I have in there? King of the Red Moon was a new addition this weekend. So if I put any fun replays together, I may release them as a video, but I'm not going to be streaming those. And Tristan is still out of town. He went to London and got engaged. So let's have a congratulations, Tristan, for getting engaged. He's not here, so he won't know you're congratulating him, but maybe retroactively. He'll feel it from afar. So the D-Hard and the McLean, still potentially dangerous. McLean seems less so. I mean, he's debuffed, he has no faction buff. Yeah. McLean's real job is just to be annoying to kill. I don't see him Well, let's see if he can. He does chip off the last rights, but no, he basically does nothing to this Watham. He's just gonna hang here, too. Jayden, though, almost out of backup time. Yeah, that McLean having a hard time in this match. Having a hard time. What's your play up here, AO? Everyone is in range of someone else to eat some meteors, so she can't just like... Okay, she's gonna single target this Lightbringer. Barely misses the kill, but a missed kill is a missed kill when you're rocking up with AO's only single target spell. Okay. Watham figures out he might as well make the most of things. He's able to get to the D-Heart or the Agnes. They're both hurt. Probably sees D-Heart as more of a threat, since he actually has an attack stat and a guard ignoring skill. Agnes, though, takes the revives off the table. I guess he figures if D-Heart's going to waste his skill on this Watham, that's just as good for him. Gintoki, like Kanyu says in the chat, Gintoki ready to party, ready to carry, like we saw carry Gintoki last turn, or last game. The D-Heart is going to run around and just attempt to take out the sword, not even succeeding at that, so that sword is still nicely hanging there. So, who's gonna kill? He's teleporting in. D-Heart too far away. McLean kind of hidden. I guess the AO's on the table. Her clone is going to come out almost right away. But WindSeeker's not going to bother to play the rest of it out. So we've got an exciting finals already. 1-1. Both players pulling out nice victories. We're going to go all the way and really get treated to some back and forth matches here, like we deserve, quite frankly. Let's follow WindSeeker this time. Alright, WindSeeker getting his opportunity as player 1. And like I mentioned, this is going to be the time where if WindSeeker is going to dip to the backup box, this is where we'd see that. If he wants to switch out to a more aggro comp, take advantage of being player 1 on a nice open map like the Plains of Strife. Really like this Season 15 frame too, it's pretty rad. Got a nice weapon here, some maple leaves. Orangey? I'm colorblind, but that's looking orangey to me. Some orangey maple leaves makes me think of fall in Canada. WindSeeker repping the Season 11 frame, the last time he got to Lang rank. Okay, WindSeeker actually not with huge changes. Basically just bringing up the Azusa instead of Lostom. It's a decent map for Lostom too. Jayden tucking Leon back into the backup box and bringing his Sagni back. So the only net change for Jayden is that IBC is still down and Kirika is still up. Maybe we'll get to see Kirika this time. Okay, but Jayden is giving WindSeeker the first pick AO line. Maybe we'll see AO mirror. Both Rosen's banned. Alright, finally, for our first opportunity in this final so far to see an AO versus AO match. Let's see how these players play it. First game was tank push versus tank push. Second game was tank push versus Oboro rush trade. And now we've got AO versus AO. Second pick Agnes. Agnes is pretty scary. During the recent 18 Gates Fate, she was one of the bonus units that I started sharding up. It's gonna take me a while to have her ready, but she's one of those characters that, like, she's not really gonna suddenly become unmeta. More like she has a certain thing that she does, and if you want your box to do that, you can put her in. Okay, and Jayden getting the Sagni. Potentially an opportunity to get an AoE Sagni in action here. He was forced to use him single target in game 1. But maybe we'll get some area going here. WindSeeker still securing a tank though. Gives him a potential buff for Oboro. If Oboro's left up, it'll give him a buff for McLean after the pain of having a no faction buff McLean in the last game. Also gives him some nice range damage reduction. And sure enough, Jayden takes out those two exact units that Landius buffs. Getting the Landius also makes some of the longer range single target folks like Lucretia, for example, a little bit less appealing. Lucretia can still pivot to AoE, so she does still have usefulness, and she can be used to help, like, chip through the Landius. But it just kind of reprioritizes Jayden's picks a little bit. Zed 2 can get through the Landius much more easily. Jayden still has that dangling potential of being able to bring in a tank if he wants to. With one of them being Hilda, that does kind of... I mean, I guess Leon can still smack into a tank and throw a bunch of splash damage and a bunch of chip damage around, or he can just use his area. So having a tank isn't really like a huge anti-Leon move. Alright, here we go, we're getting Kirkia. This is what we wanted to see. We know that Kirika can blow stuff up. So, we want to see her blow up. She can blow up the Agnes, she can blow up the Leon. Okay, and Jayden being forced into picking a tank last year. WindSeeker actually ends up with both tanks. He's got Freya and Landius. He's got AO and Leon. Agnes actually puts out a not unreasonable amount of AoE damage as well. So we've got 3 good strong AoEers against no healing on Jayden's side. I mean, Sagni has some incidental healing. Zerda kind of heals her health a little bit, heals herself a little bit, but not like an appreciable amount, like not easily survives against 3 strong AoEers. So this will be an interesting one. I mean, for his side, Agnes is the only healing that WindSeeker has, so it's possible that Jayden could also just reduce WindSeeker's AoE potential by hammering them down before they get in and pull the trigger. With AO, with Sagni, maybe with a long-range Kirika snipe, which we're all hoping for, I'm sure. Banana Time, welcome to the chat. Alright, the Apex window is officially closed, so I would expect some people to be finishing up their games and then venturing over to see what's going on in the world of Summit der Langrisser. How are WindSeeker and Jayden doing? Okay, so players are going to be setting up their skills, soldiers, positioning. Tinder wants me on that ladder. I know why you want me to climb the ladder, Tinder, because you're piloting like 8 accounts, and you want some juicy Kong meat. You can't fool me. So we do have the full area Leon. We've got full double area AO. We have kind of the normal loadout for the Sagni. He brought Holy Word to try to have a little bit of additional healing. But yeah, we have AoE on the AO. We even have an AoE Zerida here. Zerida, who's currently going to hide. So this game is going to be an interesting one. It's really going to be a question of who gets to open up with their big AoEs first, and if they get any crippling debuffs. Like when the first black hole goes off, are we going to see any nasty silences? Jayden even repping this totally disgusting EOL Awakened One skin. Kirkia teleporting herself back. That gives her +6 range. And hopefully puts her slightly out of danger. But Kirkia being back here, loaded up on range, is basically an invitation, like a come into the middle of the field and see what happens. I'm so excited for that. I didn't even build my Kirkia either. All these like interesting units, I kind of build the safe units, but all these units that get played in interesting ways, I'm like, I don't really need that niche. But then whenever I see them played, I'm always rooting for seeing some interesting plays. I guess it's because it takes the responsibility of using the resources off me and puts it onto better players like Jayden and WindSeeker. That answers your question there, Tinder. She is also buffed by Yellis. Not a particularly helpful one. Tinder, I think we all know why Canyu is awake right now. Epic Summit der Langrisser Finals hype. You don't want to be following the Summit der Langrisser all this time and then miss who the winner is. Yeah, Canyu's been actually trying to get to bed for, like, the last 2 games, depending on how they played out. Like, if there was an obvious winner, he was like, okay, I know that WindSeeker's gonna win this, so I'm off. But so far they've been close, and he sticks around. Okay, catching a breeze on that Leon. Definitely a nice development. Both teams trying to spread out a little bit to mitigate any damage from big incoming AoEs. I just noticed that my desk is super tall, and it's kind of weird, like I'm shrugging like this to control my mouse. So I'm going to briefly mute myself while I crank my manual standing desk down. This may look strange. Alright, that's better. That's a much more manageable height. Yeah, I don't have a, At the office, I have one of those rad, like, hydraulic standing desks where you just press a button and it goes... But I have one with a manual crank here, so I have to, like, turn it down, turn it up, anytime I want to stand or sit. But it's like a workout. If I'm feeling like I want to be active enough to stand at my desk, it's kind of worth a few cranks. Alright, let's see. What is Owlboy's plan? We're gonna get our first big AoE of the day. Okay, silence is on the tanks. Some people are immune to silence. Everyone else is just Moby down and can't guard. Can't guard on both tanks. It's kind of fine since Jayden wasn't really going in for... I mean, I guess Owlboy's next move from the Owl is going to be a single target attack that can't be guarded. Is that undispellable or is it just cleaned up now? Oh, it's cleaned up. That's so nice. Agnes, what a champ. Yeah, Avengers, usually I'm not as cranky on the stream. I save that for afterwards. All my true cranking footage is on my OnlyFans. So, unfortunately, Owlboy's big AoE is just erased thanks to that Agnes being the MVP. The Owl is still hanging out here in the zone, but with Sagni only having one single target spell that can now be guarded, that Owl being in there is not really the end of the world. Yeah, Dreadful Cobra. I think it reminds me of a snitch from Harry Potter, except it's not a golden snitch, it's a blood red snitch. But yeah, it's some kind of weird blood creature. Does the Owl... I can't click on the Owl because he's behind Landius, but does the Owl have a name? I'm sure there's a name in lore for the Owl. We were calling it Al just because I overheard Vice talking about the owl, and his accent makes it sound like he's saying Al. So I like the name Al for the owl. But I think in lore, it also has a less fun name. It even has a creepy little, like, Grim Reaper hook tail. Okay, so Jayden Nelson still nicely arrayed along the back here, waiting for an opportunity to do something that sticks. And trying to stay out of the way of this breezed Leon. Might as well send Landius in, I guess. As a Leon temptation. Yeah, there's lots of stuff back here who can kill that Leon if he does come in. And other than that, Leon charging in. I mean, he doesn't even have the 3C, so he wouldn't go in and hit into the Landius and then scramble. This Leon's looking for an opportunity to hit multiple people with that AoE. Ooh, Landius barely survives that whole ass 3C from AO. So WindSeeker's intention there was to burn down one of Lando's lives, and that does not even happen. Obviously, he's a pretty easy chip at this point. But the fact that you have to chip him at all is frustrating. Now what's your plan? Get a black hole off and see what sticks? Moving Lando up there was pretty much bait to get him a black hole target. He gets silence on the Lando again. Again, not a huge deal. Just defense down on this Agnes, not a huge deal. But her big healing spell isn't up right now. So it's going to be a little bit tougher. Okay, there's chipping off that Lando life. It's going to be tougher for WindSeeker to recover from that little black hole blast until Agnes gets her healing back. Jonathan Rogers, I would be shocked if they didn't do a new server for the collab, to be perfectly honest. They really like doing that to try to attract new players in. I mean, they figure that Slayers is going to bring in a bunch of new players. They wouldn't be wrong, because the last few collabs have all brought in a lot of new players, and they've all launched with new servers. So yeah, I'd be shocked if Slayers didn't come with a new server. So then the question becomes, theory crafting, what the new server's name is going to be. My tea is gone and I'm still thirsty. Dang. Okay, here it comes. Here it comes. And an insta shot on the AO. From full. Or she wasn't full, was she? No, because she had been black holed. But the interesting thing about Agnes here is she gets the benefit of an Agnes revive instead of going to her clone first. So that uses up an Agnes revive, and she gets, like, temporarily crippled here instead of just coming back at the start of the next turn at, like, 30% or 70% power or whatever. Okay, Leon opts to run away instead of trying to run through anyone. Maybe he didn't have room. No, from here? I guess he could have run through the AO. But he'd rather be in guard range. That's fair. so Leon is not going to have AoE for another 3 turns. This AO is crippled for another couple turns because Agnes can't bring her back. So she won't be bringing that black hole out. Okay, Zerida. Remember, this is an AoE Zerida as well. So Jayden has options here. Cruciferous, let's just see what this Zerida does first, and then I'll check out the Kirkia. She did use her line skill already, so I don't remember if she brought her other AoE. She must have, though. Alright, this is what Reflective Freyas are for. It doesn't actually get the kill, and doesn't prevent the kill on herself. To be fair, she wasn't full. The follow-up AoE puts AO into her little portal. Okay, here she comes. She's back. She just needs a kill to get back to full power, and she has low-hanging fruit here with a very weak 2% Landius with no revive. So if she wanted to just chuck out a black hole here, she would unclone herself. Alright, let's see. What does this Kirkia have? Oh yeah, that is her big AoE. I don't think it quite reaches from where she is, because +6. I agree, we need old collabs to come back. They were rerunning them for a while there, and then they stopped. This is starting to look scary for Jayden. I mean, he has a couple of safe units back here, but his tank is gone. He has no healing. WindSeeker still has a tank, but he's pretty disabled right now. So Jayden's going to want to do as much damage as he can here now, like this turn, basically. Unfortunately, Leon can't go polish this AO off without exposing himself to these. Yeah, I want Shaltir. Shaltir's the only unit I'm missing. It's so frustrating. Oh, Leon doesn't even need to worry about polishing off the AO. He can just run through her and kill the Kirkia. That should light her up anyway. Into the portal she goes. Sagni probably not going to be able to one-shot Leon with an auto attack. I'd be surprised if he could. Okay, I'm surprised. Color me surprised. Wow. Not like Leon's super bulky, but man. I underrated Sagni's rote DPS abilities. Okay, so that means Jayden's AO is back, but she's temporarily crippled. She needs to get a kill if she wants to come back to full power. This Landius is guarding again. Zerida has lots of Zeraballs, so she could potentially carry the day for Jayden. One more turn until the owl comes back. Lando still has a revive. So if she just blasts him down with single target, it's not going to count as a kill to unclone this AO. But it will count as a kill in terms of making the Landius not revive again later, which is still important for him. Yeah, I mean, Albedo, for collection purposes, Albedo and Shaltir are Albedo and Shaltir, but they're not getting used for anything right now, that's for sure. This should kill. Okay, and that is the end of Jayden's AO. This is going to be a fun finish, actually. I mean, Landius is still pretty toast. Defense minus 20, damage taken plus 20. The Zerda is going to have a fairly easy time with him. That AO has already revived as well, so she's not going into her portal. Sadly, that is all WindSeeker has. Landius is not going to solo Zerda plus 4 Zeraballs, sadly. So Jayden takes that one and goes up 2 games to 1. But since this is a best of 5, we have more game ahead of us. So what should happen now is they'll start a new match, and then the loser runs away. So WindSeeker should run away from game 1. And that will lead us into the next 2 games. Best of 5 for the finals, True Hero. Just double checking in the Discord that they know that. I'm fairly certain they do. Oh, I see what's happening. One of the competitors is engaging in a brief restroom break. It's only fair. It's only fair. Yeah, True Hero, I don't know about always, but it's certainly been that way for a long time. Finals best of 5. A couple of the seasons, both players in the finals agreed to just do a best of 3, even though it was technically supposed to be a best of 5. So there were a couple seasons like that where it was, like, unofficially shorter finals. But those are blips. Okay, the players are ready to queue into each other again. WindSeeker going to run away from game 1. That will basically simulate... Ooh, what's this? Oh yeah, he's on a trip. Okay, that was game 1. It said battle doesn't exist because WindSeeker had already retreated by the time I clicked. Yeah, WindSeeker retreating from game 1 here basically simulates continuing from the last match because he just lost the last battle. So this will get us into like a random map and WindSeeker being, or having the choice of whether he wants to be player 1. Most likely he will be player 1. Soda Popinski on screen in the Summit der Langrisser finals. What's all this nonsense? Come on, fellas. Come on, fellas. Let's get this show on the road here. Alright, here we are. For reals this time. WindSeeker, sure enough, does accept player 1. We are on the Cavern of Light. And let's see if we're going to have any dramatic box changes. Hopefully Jayden remembers, since this is a new battle, he's got his IBC in the thick here. So if he didn't want her anymore, he's going to have to sub her back out again. Super Cyanide in the chat cheering for WindSeeker. WindSeeker currently just down 2-1. So Jayden needs 1 more game to win. WindSeeker needs 2 more games to defend his title. Did WindSeeker win last time? Like, I keep saying that. I know he was in the finals last time. I guess I should double check my work. Yeah, he did win last time. It would have been funny if I was, like, pumping him up. And he went out in the top 32 or something. So thirsty. I should have taken a break when they took a break to go get a beverage. I'm gonna have to... So I always have, like, my stream-friendly beverages that look nice on camera. But then just hiding off camera, because it's not the most attractive thing, I have this goddamn giant adult sippy cup full of water. It's important to stay hydrated, my friends. It's just not the most glamorous beverage delivery container. Okay, so after that last game, both players don't really have the appetite for an AO versus AO battle. We're going back to first banning AOs. WindSeeker taking Rosen, and Jayden opting to take Oboro this time. So WindSeeker had the opportunity to play his Oboro earlier, Jayden getting the chance to play his Oboro this time. Who did we get from the backup box anyway? We got McLean. Oh, the Oboro came up from a backup box. And Archon as well. No Hilda here to prevent the Archon from being a mean old Archon. So that may be something that Jayden goes for as well. WindSeeker going back to a little bit more of a traditional looking tank and Rosen pick line here. That's fine. But he's going to need something that can deal with this Oboro problem. Is the air dry where I am at? Super dry in SoCal. I'm at the opposite of South California right now. I'm as eastern Canada as it gets, basically, dangling out into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The air does not ever really get dry here. And in fact, if it's not snowing out there right now, it's raining, so no. It's a little bit dry in my studio, though. I keep the humidity down here in the studio. Okay, Jayden also picking up a Gren Shield, who's another excellent anti-tank push weapon. Can drop the Gren Shield next to the tank and lower guarding abilities. Losing the Rosen, though. Ooh, someone wants to run Anarchy and Dragon with me. No thanks. Sorry, fellas. Not really going to be co-oping basic PvE today. So have you all been playing Magic Tower Chess yet? Or, like, have you finished that off, or have you been putting it off? Creamy, if you're still in the chat, I know you've been playing. You're one of the old chess masters. How about everyone else? Getting into the old chess game? Alright, Jayden is going to get that Archon in play. Exactly what we wanted to see. Ding, the final is best of 5. You got me? Best of 5. So whoever wins 3 games. Not 3 whole best of 3 matches, but 3 games total. Yeah, Cruciferous, I think I'm doing the same thing. I frankly haven't had time to set up... Like, I hate having to set up an auto chest box and then an apex box. So I wanted to wait and get my apexing done this weekend and then convert everything over for auto chest. So yeah, I'll probably start chest tomorrow as well. I'm sure we'll end up seeing each other in the queue. Two okay picks for WindSeeker here. Having a second tank makes it harder for Grenshiel to shut down your main tank. That said, it really cripples your DPS. Having McLean allows you to throw out some water tiles, which can slow down just the Gintoki, I guess. But if Jayden gets... Okay, I was going to say, if Jayden gets a portal, that doesn't really come into play as much. So the McLean, overall a better pick. I do like WindSeeker's DPS options here. Because knowing that Jayden, if Jayden has a tank at all, it's going to be Grenshiel or Gintoki. They can both bring guard skills. So given the fairly limited tanking capabilities, having Leon who can go out there and do kind of big AoE explosions and big single target damage, Polly who can rush in, kind of slow down Jayden's team by just like getting into the mix. McLean is just a killer. So if you're only going to have 3 DPS, those are some good selections for WindSeeker. For his side, we're seeing Jayden play with an Oboro in a similar kind of way that that WindSeeker played with the Oboro earlier. AKA as 1 Oboro plus 4 DPS. So he's not Oboro hiding behind a turtle tank wall. He's Oboro who's just going to transform and then hang out until he can get transformed while his DPS are doing some DPSing. The only difference is WindSeeker had a faction buff for his Oboro. Jayden Nelson does not have a faction buff for his Oboro. So it'll be a little slower to transform. Cruciferous Sprout has never seen Gin bring guard. I saw Gintoki bring guard one time, and I think it was on one of my streams. It might have been from this tournament. It might have been a Summit der Langrisser stream. But yeah, it was just one of those situations where like Gintoki was the only unit available who even had the potential of bringing guard, and he brought it and guarded. So yeah, we have the 3C on the Leon. We have the faction buff, Miracle on Rosen. Everything else is going to be pretty normal here. Double single targ. We've got hoplites on the Gintoki. No guard, though, for Jayden's team. He's just not going to bother. I mean, I guess the Grenshiel and the Archon, to a certain degree, are nice deterrents. Because otherwise, WindSeeker wants to rush in and take out that Oboro before he becomes a real threat. But he's not going to want to rush in so blindly that he opens up a spot and lets Grenshiel just turn off his guard and kill someone. So this is actually a little bit of a puzzle for WindSeeker. He has to be careful about how he moves in. Yeah, can you looking for the stun of Polly's life? And you know what? It's certainly possible that she could get a nice triple stun here. She actually has a better chance of getting a triple stun in this game because it's not my Polyol. Yeah, I will have to run joint battles at the 11 o'clock window because I need gold so bad. Definitely don't want to miss joint battle today. Skill issue, that's right. Well, Cruciferous, that's a good question. I should be saving gold for casting too. But I have been, well, as most people know, I've been going back and rerunning all my Ancient Beckoning battles to both to reposition myself higher up on the leaderboard since we just had a big server merge, but also to make updated videos for them, or at least VODs out of my streams. So far my Hugin and Munin and Jormungandr ones are like almost 5 hours long, but they have been useful to some people. I've heard people saying like, well, thanks at least. So, unfortunately, Ancient Beckoning, if I want to do it right, and if I do something, I usually will try to do it right. It costs a lot of money, because I've had to build lots of new sets, and bond up some units that I hadn't been using, but it's mostly, most of the money is going towards gear sets. So lots of Blazing Sun sets that only get used in Ancient Beckoning, and pieces of gear that, like, you don't usually need multiple copies of, but for Ancient Beckoning you do, like 5 Blazing Sun Slayer's emblems. So building up stuff and rolling enchants on all that stuff, that's pretty much where all my gold is going for now. So when the new casting levels come out, I'm basically just going to regret not having any gold, but it will have been temporarily worth it for, like, my current goals. Once I'm done with Ancient Beckoning again, yeah, I'll leave it for another 2 years, like you're saying, B-Guy. For me, it's been around a year, maybe a bit more than a year since I ran them last time, so I'll get to neglect them for another year and then shift my focus back to getting my Apex box built back up again. Okay, so Jayden's team is sufficiently very spread out, about as spread out as we can get while staying on one side of the map, so he's not as worried about that triple stun from Polyol. Still not in range where WindSeeker is vulnerable to that Gren Shield quite yet, though. Al's not on the map yet. And honestly, Oboro's just hanging out here, slowly but surely gaining stacks. What does that enable right now? Like, who are you killing right now? I guess you don't even need to... She could potentially air slash the Leon. But even just stopping Polly in her tracks by killing Polly here, 1 life off of her. I guess he's not on water either right now. Okay, this basically forces a Polly action to single target charge the Grenshiel and stun her. So that makes that breeze slightly less immediately threatening. Absol hasn't run H&M and Fenrir since launch! Dropped out of the top 100 a couple weeks ago. RIP. Absol subscribed again. I feel like every time I stream a Summit der Langrisser finals match, I get that beautiful Absol subscription notification. So thank you for the resub, Absol. Enjoy your Seal Guardian. Yeah, it's kind of rough being forced to polycharge there, but on the other hand, Jayden was not grouping up, so he wasn't getting really anything juicier than that. So at least she got some utility out of her charge. She got a stun that WindSeeker basically needed. RIP. Yeah, that doesn't put him in position to do anything next turn either. Straw, thank you for the sub as well. Yeah, the unfortunate consequence, maybe it won't come into play, but the unfortunate consequence of that move is it also erases some of those poly tiles for someone like Leon to take advantage of. Tears, thanks for the sub. Everyone's raking in the Seal Guardians tonight. Okay, Leon's just gonna pop in and finish off that Grenshiel. We got kind of hyper-focused on the Grenshiel after she caught that breeze. Biskintoki Act Again also gives turn prio back to WindSeeker, and the Gin can only reach her or Scooter Dash. Is it worth exposing himself for that? suppose it is. Because now this Leon basically has to choose. Well, he can't even reach the Oboro now. He has to choose if he wants the Oboro or the Gintoki. McLean, too far away to do anything. Polyol, not much gas left in the tank. She has one AoE left that she might go ahead and choose to use just to start the Sagni blowing up process. Ah, bad scramble in terms of Oboro position. It takes him off the tree, but it doesn't bring him close to anything that WindSeeker can use to kill him. Alright, what's this little injured no revive Archon up to? Yeah, Leon's first strike is from his SP skill. Alright, just let's Ragnarok kill that Polyol off without risking taking any counter damage. Okay, McLean catches a breeze there, though. So he can at least get into the action now. He's not buffed at all. But he does have his skill available. So no buff, breeze, skills up. Could have a miracle coming if he wants the extra damage. Breeze on the Lightbringer as well. Help her keep up with wherever McLean needs to go, I guess. She brought Discipline. That's right, can you? RN Jesus is just trying to bring things back into alignment. Karmic alignment. An interesting... Did he think that it was gonna attack from the owl? and therefore he wouldn't get countered. That's the only thing I can think of that Jayden had running through his mind at that point, was because the owl was up front here, thought it was going to count as a ranged attack. Okay, WindSeeker goes ahead and blasts his McLean skill off on that Archon, finishing him off. So we still have a juiced up Gintoki, who has the ability, yeah, he has his 3C up. This Sagni is a little bit roasted, but he still has his single target skill, not his heal. And we are getting close to a fully transformed Oboro here. Actually, Oboro is going to get his last stack this turn, and McLean's not going to have his attack skill up for another turn after that. So Oboro is going to get a chance to get in on the action here. All right, there's our jacked Oboro. Sagni now heading for the hills. Okay. WindSeeker has the opportunity to start things off. Can't reach anything with Lightbringer now. McLean still has to trigger his water to get his skill back, so all he can do is really run back and hide. So if Oboro wants to go in and then try to kill McLean, that's the thing. He does then expose himself to... Like, McLean's going to have his revive, so he will have his attack skill. Lightbringer has discipline, so she'll be able to attack that Oboro as well. Jayden has to be a little bit strategic here about when and where he goes in, so he doesn't expose himself to getting cleaned up next turn. Or Sagni. Oh, not quite yet. All he did was plop a little bit of damage on that Lightbringer. She tops off her breeze. So she'll be able to reach Jayden's Oboro even if he doesn't decide to come in this turn. Gets on the tree. Smart. Kills the Rosen. At least she'll stay dead. No more attack skills? So that's just a treed Oboro waiting 5 turns for his skill to come back. I mean, he can just normal attack too. Let's see if this McLean's gonna try to kill Gintoki. No, he wants Oboro dead. Ooh, just barely gets him with the water spike at the end. And survives the suicide explosion too. It's a good result for WindSeeker. Now Jayden basically needs this Gintoki to get through Lightbringer. McLean is another turn down before he has his big attack skill. Back to the sippy cup. Pushes the McLean out of water, out of guard range. So Sagani could do the needful here to give that Gintoki an act again so that he could go in and finish off McLean, but then Gintoki has to solo Lightbringer with his Lancer troops. I want to see it happen. Okay. All right, here we go. Lightbringer with a revive. Her skill's not up quite yet. Gintoki. Yeah, Gin has his ice cream and his 3C. Okay, we've got discipline back up on the Lightbringer. Ooh! Ice cream healing. Then 3C again. See if it does any more damage than it did last time. Those Guardian Infantry are tanky boys. All that healing, it's hard to get through. Oh, more damage that time, but not enough to finish her off. The thing is, she doesn't have any incidental healing this turn. She has Helmet Break, so she won't be able to get her Glory of the World pre-battle healing. And that is the end of Lightbringer's first life. But she does have Discipline now. Windwall proc does not save the Gintoki. Whew, that one came down right to the end. So WindSeeker pulls it even. 2 games to 2. That means the next game wins. Coming right down to the line in the Summit der Langrisser Season 13 finals. Basically, it's all down to this one game. Super Bowl style. Alright, the chat coalescing around the turning point of that game was sniping Rosen with Oboro. Poor Canyu. The more this gets stretched out, the later he has to stay awake. Okay, so Jayden Nelson coming into this one as player 1. We're on Floating Courtyard again, back where it all began. Let's see what they dredge out of the backup boxes for this game. Trying to get some more main quarters hyped on this finals, now that there's only one game left to decide the victory. Fought hard for 2 hours. Jayden Nelson won 2 games. WindSeeker won 2 games. They've mostly been close, like it hasn't even been blowouts. And WindSeeker bringing up the IBC and the Sissy to assist as player 2. Jayden Nelson brings up Joa and Connie. Brings the Watham back into the box as well. Sedsky, not 100% sure what that means. Obviously in the sense that my face is currently being revealed. Didn't exactly make a big event out of it or anything like that. I think those are a little bit silly. Most people have faces. It's not like I was making a big deal of hiding my face for the first several years of my career, but it was just like the type of content I made didn't really need me mugging in it, so here we are though. Streams, it's a little bit fun for streams. Okay, WindSeeker, we're going right back to the early games again. WindSeeker is getting Oboro. Oboro on Sky Map. Jayden bans out both of WindSeeker's Oboro buffing tanks, which again leaves WindSeeker with that choice of either picking Lightbringer if he wants a tank, or picking D-Heart if he wants an Oboro buffer. Last time he opted for the D-Heart. Yeah, unfortunately, I have a little spot for my dog. This is a little Doberman couch right here, and she's not in the studio at the moment. Nor, so far, has she ever been for any of my streams, but soon we'll get her in here. The thing is, she has to be in the right mood. Applesauce is still a pup, so she's quite feisty. And if you have her in the studio while you're trying to do anything serious, it's usually quite a distraction. But if she's super tired, maybe we can make it work. Okay, so WindSeeker did opt to go for the D-Heart, and ended up losing the opportunity to get a tank with both Lightbringer and Sissy being banned. The other thing he could have done if he didn't want to bring the faction buff, well, I mean, I guess Jayden probably would have banned Sissy anyway, but Sissy, with her Act Again, kind of also serves as like a semi-faction buff for Oboro, because she can speed up his transformation that way. But this way you get D-Heart as an assassin option as well. Also getting the Grenshiel to help shut down Lightbringer's tanking abilities. Grenshiel good on this map because she can fly, she can throw her Grenshield down on sky tiles. So it's a little bit more tricky to defend against her. She's scary on this map. Ah, and thank you for the follow, Sedsky. Honestly, the rest of WindSeeker's DPS are all kind of scary. Annie, of course, good at putting some good pressure off the middle. Against Lightbringer with Guardian Infantry, slightly less scary. just because Lightbringer's able to take her hits a bit better. Watching all these games made me feel like going back to tank push. Dr. YOLO. Yeah, I mean, tank push is still a viable strategy right now. People are talking about like the death of tank push and the death of turtle, but that's like a few months into what China has right now, and it's just because they've released like 6 really strong DPS units in a row. So we're obviously not at that point yet. Our tanks are still tanking as much as they've ever been tanking, I guess. Okay, so WindSeeker gets the Leon out, gets the Annie out. Jayden, last pick, his own Oboro. So Jayden with a little bit more of a traditional tank push, protect the Oboro looking comp here. Oboro kind of going to be able to hang out at the back, although his doesn't have a faction buff, so it'll transform more slowly than WindSeeker's. That could play into WindSeeker's strategy, trying to activate the Oboro and get in before Jayden's Oboro comes up to snuff. And let's see what else. We've got a Z2 on Jayden's side who can basically doesn't really need to worry about like jumping in and killing stuff as much because it looks like many of WindSeeker's units are going to be trying to come to us. And Sagani with the potential certainly to AoE these units because there's no healing and no tank on WindSeeker's side, no Rosen Seal. Importantly, so he could eat some debuffs. Straw likes the look of WindSeeker's comp. Yeah, he has a lot of weapons. Leon definitely going to be able to scramble some of Jayden's, a couple of his stray units into awkward positions. Grenshield going to be looking to shut down that Lightbringer guard and then get a good pick. D-Heart can ignore guard. Target's a little bit more limited. I mean, D-Heart, Oboro is a target for D-Heart, but Oboro's probably going to be left out of D-Heart's sniping range, unless WindSeeker does something about that with a Leon Scramble, for example. Yeah, we may just see any of those units killed by Sagni as well. So he did bring his unique 3C, or his unique AoE and his unique single target. We've got the Phalanx on Lightbringer. And the Gallant Duelists on the Leon. Little bit of rock, paper, scissors mind games going on there. So we do have the faction buff on the D-Heart. Okay, interesting. Absol was looking for sorceresses on this Rosen. That helps Rosen get in the way and block Grenshield tiles on the sky map. Catching a nice early breeze on this D-Heart as well. Serida goes into her little hiding corner. Annie building some infrastructure. Mostly for Leon. Kind of an awkward spot for Leon to shiv off of, though. Oh! Starting to get stiff. This is a long stream. You wouldn't do which? Luxid, you wouldn't wait? Thank you, Kampa. I need the encouragement. When my will is waning. When I say my will is waning, I basically just mean I'm hungry. I want pizza. Ooh, there's that breeze that Straw was looking for. There's that breeze. So he's in range to smack that Lightbringer right in the face. Game 5. Yeah, I know. I mean, I say that as though this is actually a long stream. It's just 5 games of the same people playing. But if I'm ever streaming, like, someone's ladder sessions or whatever, you're usually doing multiple games in those runs, but it's different opponents and different strategies and stuff. Still, this is the cream of the crop. The best of the best. We're seeing the top quality shit here tonight. We're not watching Tristan tier players versus Gold 2 tier players. Okay, no owl yet. Jayden wants to make sure that when he does deploy Al, he gets Al in deep. This is interesting. So this is just to hit into Lightbringer. Not getting the kill. We get our shield on Gren. She's also on terrain. Kinda. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's to slow down Sagni, but one of Sagni's prime targets is sitting right here right now. Although she's buff. It also keeps Sagni here for potentially D-Heart to eat. Leon can still smoke Lightbringer if he wants to. All right. You would think... Yeah, he brought ice instead of Windblade. I wonder if that was like a versatility pick and he wasn't considering that Grenshield would be Sagni's main target. WindSeeker certainly considered that Sagni was going to be D-Heart's main target. So I guess at least the Gren did her job. Now let's see what this Leon does with his infantry boys. Does kill the Lightbringer's first life. Now what? Basically just scrambling the Lightbringer. Oh, that's a good scramble, though. Lightbringer way out of position, way down into the depths of the middle of the map, not able to get back to her team, and her team not able to get back to her. So, if you're shooting for a scatter of one person, that's about as good as it gets there. That said, WindSeeker is still going to need to kill the rest of Jayden's team. We do have an Oboro waiting patiently up here in the wings. And now, Jayden basically has to rely on Zerida and Oboro to start cleaning up WindSeeker's team before WindSeeker's Oboro gets into the action. So neither player has to wait, strictly speaking, for a 4-stack Oboro because there are no more tanks. So, you know, Jayden could transform a little early to try to start catching up to WindSeeker on the trade front. WindSeeker could transform a little early to get into the action a little bit sooner and avoid this Oboro and Z2 ramping up too much. We'll see how the turns play out. Yeah, it's annoying having to try to kill Z2 multiple times, especially when she's already kind of established with some Zeraballs here. Yeah, Straw's right. The extra stacks on Oboro are definitely make a difference. D-Hard is tapped out for a couple turns. Annie still has potential. I might have been tempted to wait on Annie there. This Z2 can still just get her life back, though. Right, so there's the easy revive retrieval off this wimpy D-Heart. D-Heart's just going to run away. Catches a breeze, which isn't going to matter this turn. He still can't do anything. Annie has a skill. So WindSeeker is going to be looking to combo down that Z2 at some point. Oboro still not coming into the action yet on Jayden's side. Yeah. D-Heart being dead would definitely be much preferable for Jayden than D-Heart not being dead. Alright, and WindSeeker now has a 4-stack Oboro ready to transform next turn. WindSeeker with turn prio here. D-Heart with the faction buff, nice and ready and waiting for this Oboro. So there we have it. Our flying map dragon carry boy is already stacked up and buffed. Pizza. Or donaires. Maybe thinking donaires. Alright, first stage of the comboing down Zerida complete. 1 life off. Zerida is able to pick her next Zeraball back up, though, if she wants to. So she could just teleport near this. Oh yeah, this is an open invitation for Oboro right here. There's the Dragon Portal. I mean, if Zerida doesn't go now, Oboro's killing her for sure. So she's got to come up here, teleport to get her Zeraball life back, and then kill Annie. Then Oboro comes in and has a little bit of a choice. Let's see how Jayden decides to play it out. Jayden has his thinking hat on. Look at those mesmerizing portals. They all look like pizzas.
運命をたどる。
Okay, there's the Adankmo down. Zerda back to full, and we get to see what WindSeeker's plan is with this Oboro. Most likely we're coming through the portal and taking out Oboro. Okay, the chat now coalescing around the turning point of this match, which was Jayden Nelson leaving that D-Heart alive by auto-attacking into it with a no talent buffed Zerida, leaving him at 12% HP instead of just using her 3C on him to make sure she finished him off. The thing is, keeping the 3C up hasn't even come into play for Jayden yet because he hasn't used it since that move. He used the air slash to kill Annie there. Okay, interesting. Going for the Zerida, not going through the portal. Didn't... I guess he wanted to prioritize keeping his Oboro far away. We're into the crux now. Jayden Nelson has to play this perfectly. Gonna kill the D-Heart. Okay, WindSeeker. Has to take out that Oboro and survive the death explosion. You're on terrain, you've got a faction buff. Easily survives the death explosion, blows up Zerida with the AoE, and has plenty of HP left to survive whatever Rosen can throw at him. So this looks like a great position for WindSeeker to go back-to-back in the Summit der Langrisser. WindSeeker just has to pull the final trigger. Oh, not able to get the kill yet, so there's still a chance for Jayden Nelson if WindSeeker disconnects here. Oh, Jayden Nelson not holding out hope for that one. Throws in the towel right at the end of the match. And WindSeeker in a 3-2 victory. We went all 5 games in this best-of-5 Summit der Langrisser finals. And WindSeeker goes back-to-back champion, winning Summit der Langrisser Season 12, taking home the big purse. Let me look at the Discord and see what the purse actually is. Actually, Straw, you're in the chat. You know exactly what the purse is this season. $300. Taking home the $300 last season and then defending the title, taking home another $300 prize purse this season. Jayden Nelson, though, not leaving empty-handed. Second place is $150 in prize money. and putting up a great fight, coming all this way and then going right to the finish line against WindSeeker. So thank you to both players for giving us a sequence of interesting matches. It wasn't like the same comps and the same play style for every single game. So even though we were kind of like rolling our eyes and chuckling about how long the stream was going on, it was really interesting and good games to watch as well. So thanks to both players. Congratulations for your winnings. Hope to see you in the next season of Summit der Langrisser if it's a thing that's happening. Straw is in the chat. He knows much better than I do. I'm just a pretty face. And yeah, thank you to everyone in the chat, both YouTube and Twitch, for showing up and supporting the stream and supporting the tournament as well. So yeah, turn out next time. The link to the Discord server, the Summit der Langrisser Discord server, is not in the description of this stream quite yet, but I will edit it into the VOD afterwards. So if people are interested in getting involved in Summit der Langrisser, you can join the Discord, come and check out. Be ready for next season, get some good practice in, make some friends who still enjoy Langrisser and haven't quit yet for some reason, and yeah, maybe consider donating as well. So thanks for turning out, everyone. That's going to be it for me for now. I've still got a whole bunch of Magic Tower Auto Chess and Apex Arena, and tomorrow, a Fenrir run, probably a 4.5-hour Fenrir run, which I'll be recording and putting on YouTube. So stay tuned for all that juicy content. I will catch you in the next one, everyone. Happy Langrissing.